And another question I have, Jay, is like, the dissatisfaction in sixth sphere.
Yep.
And celestial spirit doesn't feel dissatisfied, hey?
Never.
So what drives them is more just desire, but not the dissatisfaction to grow towards God, to go further up.
Well, no, you've received a part of the infinite, so now you're realising that everything's infinite. Everything you could learn, everything you could be, it sort of opens it's like opening the door. You could sort of liken the sixth sphere world to like having a perfect earth. Right? There'd be interesting things within there, like beautiful landscapes, environments, and beautiful experiences with people, because everyone would be kind and compassionate and understanding and loving. And there's beautiful creations to look at, and it's all very wonderful, right? So you sort of have that. But it's like opening a door and there's like a universe instead of a world. And that's really what it's like when you enter the seventh sphere. You start realising, actually, what I thought was the universe and what I thought was my limitations and what I thought was the world is completely different than what I thought. Right?
Yeah, so do you sort of realise at some point there is no limitation, or the sixth sphere goes, I'm
well, you realise logically that makes sense, right? And you often realise that in the seventh sphere. Once you enter the eighth, though, you not only realise it, but you feel it, which is very, very different than realising something. You feel everything. So it's like everything we've talked about, as eighth sphere spirit would be feeling everything I've talked about, not just thinking, which most of you are still doing, right? They're feeling everything, and so it's not just a thought of wonder; it's a feeling of wonder. It's not just a thought of interest; it's a feeling of interest. It's very, very different. Yeah? It's like opening the world to It's like the world you're living in. You didn't realise it. You thought the world you're living in was the world, and you thought how wonderful it was, and you didn't realise there was anything better. And then you enter the eighth sphere, and it's like opening another. It's like opening, compared to a world, opening a universe. And fundamentally, that's sort of what it is, because you can't understand anything in the universe unless you go through it. So you're sort of entering you're going from a very finite, limited place into the potential of the infinite. It's not infinite because the universe can't be, but it's so big that it's like you're blown away by the transition, right? But not only the interesting thing about the transition is that it's not just a transition for your knowledge or your experience. It's a transition of you as well. So you become a different person. And this is really weird. It's like, not only have you sort of opened a door into a universe, but you've also opened a door into you as a part of that process. So now there's a double fascination of what are your limits. You understand? Not just the limits of the universe you're in, because now you thought you were limited, and now it's like, whoa. So the external is like, whoa. And then you start really, but the internal is, whoa. You know what I mean? As well. Yeah? So it's like you, at the same time, getting a double experience of, for the first time, it's like you're starting to feel the potential of you, as well as the potential of what you can learn in the universe. Right? So it becomes a very fascinating process for that reason. Because you're receiving the part of God's love, you are now growing potentially infinitely, towards the infinite, as well as seeing a universe that is now changing towards the infinite as you grow towards the infinite. And as you grow towards the infinite, you're creating more things in that universe that's growing towards the infinite. So it's a very different experience than just living in the sixth sphere, investigating things that God has created.